Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans violently carves its way into the annals of Gundam anime history, and it does so with amazing production value and heart-pounding mobile suit action. This episode right here was pretty damn great. The first episode that truly gripped me and made me fall in love with the series. And what I loved most about this episode is just how it can go from being really heartwarming and funny to immediately serious and life-threatening in just a split second. This episode was nuts. So basically the story of this episode is that Orga, Mika, and the rest of the guys at CGS have decided to stage a coup and take over the place and rename it Tekadon, which means Iron Flower. And they do so in a very shocking fashion. At the beginning of the episode, you have Atra, Cookie, and Cracker who are feeding all of the soldiers a nice warm meal. And they actually take some of this soup and they spice it with some sort of drug and feed it up to all of the First Corps members of CGS, and this gets them all knocked out so that they can tie them up. It's at this point of the episode that Orga gives them an ultimatum. Work for them or get the hell out. And if you oppose them in any way, they will straight up just kill you. In fact, 2 members are killed at point-blank range by Mika without any hesitation as he walks right up to them and unloads a couple of bullets right into their skulls. It is kind of disturbing. Hell, it's really disturbing, especially when you realize that these are orphan children who are taking over this place and doing all this shit. These guys are the Lost Boys on drugs. A lot of them leave, but some of them actually end up staying around, like this one accountant and Space Hitler. That's what I'm going to call him, because I don't know his name, and he has a little Hitler mustache, and he's in space. So, Space Hitler is going to be sticking around for a little while, although I have to admit, I'm already sort of annoyed by his antics. He's basically there just to be a groveling idiot. He's like the mayor's aide at Lake Town from The Hobbit. So now CGS belongs to Orga and all of the orphan children, but they still have a business to run. They gotta think about those funds, and they also have to worry about Gallahorn, who's going to try and attack them so that they can get back their lost mobile suit, as well as killing Kudelia Ina Bernstein. But the best part of this episode, without a doubt, is the amazing mobile suit duel at the very end of this episode. Crank Zent, the Rombarol-esque character of this series, decides to challenge CGS, and that's when Mika gets back into the Gundam Barbatos. Now, before I go any further, I'm a little confused because everybody is saying this different. Is it Gundam Barbatos or Gundam Barbatos? Gundam Barbatos A, Gundam Barbatos B. Let me know in the comments section below, because I'm not sure what to call it, but I think I'm just going to continue to call it Gundam Barbatos. But this duel right here is definitely the best action scene of the entire series thus far. What's most crazy about it, of course, is that Orga instructs Mika to outright kill him, and since he was told this by Orga, you know he's definitely going to do this. After watching this episode, I can say without a doubt that this was the best mobile suit action scene from the entire series thus far. The best duel, hands down. And it was just so inventive and cool, totally taking advantage of the setting, how they're constantly kicking up all of that Mars dirt. We get to see more of the abilities of the Gundam Barbatos, especially its big weapon, more at the end of the battle, but still the entire battle itself is just so impacting and amazing. Every single time the mobile suits move or hit each other, you really feel like the entire room is shaking. It's absolutely amazing. This is a Gundam battle that if you have the ability to watch it like on a big surround system, do it. It's gonna blow your mind, and it's just totally going to enhance the scene. Definitely one of the coolest scenes I've seen from the series. And it almost seems like at first Crank might actually live and might actually get out of this battle, but no. Mika actually ends up taking his weapon, which has been broken in half, slamming in front of all the other people, by the way, with Orga not even moving because he's freaking awesome. Mika takes the other half of the weapon, shoves it into the chest of the Grey's mobile suit, which then has this spear which erupts from the tip, going all the way through it and just leaving this massive hole in it. I honestly thought he went right for the cockpit, but apparently he missed, and you can see that Crank is there, he's defeated, and basically he's asking for Mika to kill him, because he knows if he goes back, it's going to reflect poorly on the other soldiers, and he has to be made an example of. In this way, he can sort of like take all of the blame, he can sort of like shoulder all of everything that's been going on. So Mika just puts a couple of bullets in his head right there, and as they do this amazing pan out where you see the Gundam Barbatos hanging out over the Grey's mobile suit as the sun is behind them, just reflecting light. Oh, it's so freaking beautiful! That was definitely one of the most, like, intense scenes that I've seen from the series, and this whole episode was like that. It will totally remind you that this is going to be a real hardcore show. So, What's the rundown on this week's episode of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans? So freaking good here. I'm not so sure about the name of the new group, Iron Flower or Tekadan or Tekadon, whatever you really want to call it. But I'm sure it's going to grow on me as the series goes on. They're definitely going to have to get some new jackets. I don't know if they're going to stick with the whole CGS thing. But this episode was really cool, not just for the mobile suit action, but for just expanding on some of the other characters. I didn't even talk about any of the scenes with Kudelia Ina Bernstein, who is becoming a much more likable character who is trying to find her place in the world, especially now that she's been introduced to all of these orphans who are being forced to fight, or doing it of their own volition. And she feels like she sort of has to, like, live up to their expectations by either piloting a mobile suit or helping them out in some way. And it starts out real small, with her just sort of helping out the soldiers and feeding them, which is leading to a little bit of comedy in this episode at the very beginning, because apparently she's a crappy cook and doesn't even know how to cut vegetables, which just adds a little more goofiness to her character. She's definitely, her along with like Cookie and Cracker and Atra, like they're definitely like the cutesy sort of fun side of Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Everything else though is like played really serious to a T, and honestly I do like that, and it's just, it's disturbing to me how like none of this ever bothers Miko whatsoever. He's so just blank and emotionless whenever he is given an order by Orga. And he doesn't even like disagree with him or even think about it for a second. He just asks him, kill that dude. Okay, no problem. Boom! Just no problem at all. I'm just amazed how quickly that whole like scene where they tied up all those guys went. It was honestly really disturbing. That and of course the battle at the end when he finished off Crank. I literally thought for a split second he might let him go, but Orga said to kill him and his orders are apparently absolute to Mika, so that makes him a very disturbing character. Their whole dynamic is definitely going to be one of the best things about this series, but if this episode let us know anything, it was that the mobile suit action in the series is just going to be freaking boss. As far as animation, artwork, and the technical side of things go, the episode was freaking gorgeous from beginning to end. All the character designs are really good and very distinct. Not one character looks like the other, and that is something that I think is a really important detail. There are characters who just don't blend into the background. Everybody has their own like little thing going on, and I think that's really cool. Of course, the mobile suits look really cool. The Grazes themselves sort of remind me of Zaku's in a sense, how they have the single eye and they're kind of green and they have the big axe. The Gundam Barbatos just continues to grow on me. It looks so cool. It's just, you know, reminiscent of old, but still new enough. The way the face looks, how it's all really sharp and almost beak-like, especially when the cockpit is opened up. Just all the artwork, especially like the close-up shots of the Gundam Barbatos, always look really damn good. They know how to sell those money shots in Gundams. So this was another fantastic episode. I think definitely the best episode of the series thus far. Just loving this show. Can't get enough of it. I can only say I can recommend it to all Gundam anime fans. You're definitely going to like this show. I'm giving this week's episode a 5 out of 5. That means it was freaking amazing and you should not miss it. So there it is. But before you guys leave today, I want to hear your thoughts about this week's episode of Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Did you have a favorite scene from this episode? A new favorite character? What did you think of that mobile suit battle between Mikazuki August and Crank Zet? Please tell me in the comment section below and what you hope to see from the rest of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!